Hope I can go ahead now. I can see we are live. Can I go ahead now? I can see we are live on YouTube.
Yes, we're live on YouTube. You can.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone, and a huge welcome to this pivotal section I titled From 3MTT Training to Global Tech Careers, What Next? I am your host for today. My name is Somto Akujiobi, the Community Manager for Anambra State, and I couldn't be more excited to spend the next hour with you. This webinar is in collaboration with Product Dive, so we'll be having one of the representatives as our speaker in this session. So to be sure that you are ready for today's webinar, I want to feel your energy in the chat by sharing your best emoji. Also tell us your name and where you are joining us from. Also, don't forget to share this link to others who are not yet here, okay? All right, so without wasting much of a time, I would love to see our energy in the chat. So just make use of the chat to be sure that you are here with us. Okay. All right. So over the next hour, we are going to be talking about what's next. I know that's normal. The major questions that we ask all the time after a tech training, what's next? So specifically, we will be giving the practical steps to land your first or even your next tech role, and also how to get ready for the tech talent marketplace. All right. So today, we'll learn practical tips on what hiring managers actually look for. We'll get actionable insights on preparing for the tech talent marketplace, and also we engage in a live question and answer session. So I want you to start thinking of your answers right now, and we'll be giving out for any the lucky attendees, will be giving out a free virtual pass to the Dive 2025. So I want you to stay tuned for the details on how to qualify for this dive. All right, the dive is a program, an event by Product Dive. So today we brought an incredible expert who actually lives and breathes tech talent acquisition and career growth. We have Mr. Aketunde Opawole. He is the head of programs and partnerships in Product Dive. But before we dive in, I want you to please keep your questions ready for the question and answer session, and also use the chat box to ask your question. And all questions, please, I want to urge our fellows, all questions should be related to what we are discussing on the webinar. Thank you. All right, let's jump right into the topic of our discussion. One of the biggest challenges isn't about acquiring skills, is communicating those skills effectively to a hiring managers. So hiring managers often spend less than a minute reviewing a CV. So how do you make that minute count? I want to introduce our speaker, who is going to pull back the curtain on hiring process and tell us exactly what recruiters and hiring managers are looking for. Mr. Aketunde Opawole is the head of programs and partnerships at Product Dive, bringing over 12 years of product leadership experience across continents. His journey is marked by significant product innovation, from shaping retail technology in Spain at Nextel Labs to driving e-commerce and SaaS innovation in the USA as the head of product at Vox Technologies. Notably, he built EduStats, West Africa's largest edutech data platform, and the successful Youth Plus platform, demonstrating his passion for creating technology that solves real-world problems. He is also a certified product leader and is currently an MBA candidate at the Business School of Netherlands. So please join me in welcoming him with your best emoji I want to see your vibe in the chat. All right, so thank you so much for being here. I want to see your vibe in the chat. I want us to welcome our speaker with your best emoji. All right, the floor is yours. Thank you so much, Mr. Aketunde. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Somto. I don't know if everyone can hear me. Good afternoon.
I can hear you from my end.
Oh, okay, great. Awesome. Let me see. My voice might be a little bit low, so let me bring it up. Let me bring my mic up. Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are, different parts of the world. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be able to share one or two, things with us here on this call. Awesome. We'll just dive right into it. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you so much, Somto, for that introduction. So that already helps in what's it called? In what we want to talk on today. So I won't have to go through that anymore. Please confirm if you can see the screen.
Yes, I can see your screen here.
Okay, great. All right, so we can dive right into it. Thank you, 3MTT. For others, I wish I could see everyone. I'll see their reactions, but we'll make do with what we can. All right, so like Somto, our moderator has rightly said, we are talking about from 3MTT training to global tech careers, what's really next for you. First, I would like to say that this is not some sort of motivational speech or some sort of, like they say, aspire to perspire to, all of those slogans. This is going to be very, very practical. It's like a conversation so that everybody who is watching or who will watch later can understand what we are talking about. So, what to expect from this session would be tips on what hiring managers look for in tech roles, insights to prepare for the tech talent marketplace. I'll also take your questions and answer and a chance for you to win free virtual passes to the dive. But just before I get right into it, I'm representing Product Dive as head of programs and partnerships. For those who do not know about Product Dive is the foremost product school and product community in Africa. Product Dive is 6 years plus now, and a community as large as almost 20,000 professionals. Product Dive is a partner with the 3MTT, where we've also worked with 3MTT to train people who want to transition into product management, into tech using product management. We are happy to have been able to train over 4,000 fellows. And beyond that, even across our other programs, we've been able to train thousands of people who have now reached, great heights in their career. So for those who do not know, if you are looking into tech and and you think product management is the right place for you, Product Dive is the best place for you. If you are already in tech and you want to switch careers as well and you want to do products, Product Dive is the home for you. And we have different programs, that would help you. At the end, I will share a bit of some examples of people who have gone through our programs and are doing well today. And more importantly, I will touch on the conference that we're having this year. That is the perfect opportunity for those of you who are watching to be able to leverage and upskill and network and do all of that. All right, so let's dive right into it. Like we've said, we're talking about what next. You've been trained, so what next? So we're going to start with what I call the big picture. All right. So for some of us here, I want you all to understand that what the 3MTT program has done for you is that it has given you structure, right? It has also given you mentorship and exposure. The next phase for you is building proof, showing the world, what you can do. So 3MTT is not your finish line. In fact, it's your starting block. So with the 3MTT program and what you've learned in different fields, you now have the foundation. And even though you have the foundation, what the world is actually looking for is actually outcomes. And you also need to understand, as part of the big picture, that not just Nigerian companies, global tech companies actually hire for impact, not just your certificate. It's not enough to say, okay, I've done my training. I did it at Prototype, or I did it with this partner of 3MTT. They want to see your impact. So we're going to be talking about how to then make your 3MTT journey count, okay? So that's the big picture. So let's start. What hiring managers really, really look for. In the corporate space today, not just the tech space, general corporate space, everybody wants to see a proof. It's not enough to put things in your resumes. There has to be a proof of that skill. It's not about, oh, I can do this or I have learned this. Show us a proof. Every hiring manager, there is no best thing than when you walk into an interview and they put a scenario in front of you and they say, Mohammed, Nika, or Shola, if you were in this situation, what would you do? One of the best responses you can ever give is to say, oh, I remember when I did XYZ. I remember a situation, this was what I did. You see, when you now say this is what I did, if their scenario is slightly different, you can now then say, this is what I will do in this scenario. That shows to the hiring manager that there is a proof of what you've done. And you're now telling them maybe how differently you will do it this time. So it is not enough for you to say, I can code. One of the best things you can do is to say, see what I have built. I'm also a living testimony of this. As someone who studies something that is into medical sciences for my degree, I remember when I was going to get my first, one of my first jobs. And one of the first things that I was asked was, oh, your resume, they checked my degree. The first thing, I'm talking many years ago. So those were days where they still look at what you studied, right? And I remember they said, this is what you studied and you want to work in tech. And I'm like, yeah. And they said, there's no correlation. And I said, well, what I have built, right? I was bullish at the time to say, I'm very sure some of your engineers here haven't done it. And they said, you are, they said, tell us, show us. And all I did was just give them URLs. Check this, check this, check this. And I remember in that interview room, it was about 8 people. In fact, the head of HR herself said, oh, I've actually encountered this product. I didn't know you were the one who led it. And I said, yes, I was. So one of the best things you can do to help yourself now that you are done with 3MTT is to show your proof of skill. It is not just enough to say, I can code, but here's what I've built. You also need to have a problem-solving mindset, which means regardless of what you've studied at 3MTT, some of the things that hiring managers look for is how you solve problems, right? When they ask you a question, how do you respond? They are, funny enough, what most people mistake is that most people think that they want to know if you're going to give the right or wrong answers. 90% of the time, they are just actually interested in how you approach the problem. they understand you don't have as much context for their company, right? They understand. So wherever the answer you give, they may know that it may even be something they've done before, right? So, but really, they are actually interested in your mindset, how you solve problems. They're also interested in communication. So, as a 3MTT fellow that has been trained, you need to tell yourself, you need to improve your communication skills. There has to be clarity in what you're saying. You have to show up confident, and they want to see how you collaborate, right? So in everything you do, you can't just be saying, I did this, I did that. So to get to a point, they wonder wait, hold on, were you the engineer, the product manager, the designer, or whatever at the same time? So you need to show all of that in your communication. They also want to see your growth mindset, right? Do you learn very fast and improve continuously? So that's why sometimes people throw it in to say, oh, I am learning this new skill. I'm learning that new skill. So even though you're being hired for designer role, let's say product designer or UI UX, you can say, I'm also learning testing, or I'm also learning. That's it. That shows your growth mindset. Also, very importantly, cultural fit. There is nothing as important as somebody with great talent, but with terrible culture or does not fit into the system. So if you are going into that market of the job market, you need to be humble, you need to learn how to work with people, and you need to learn how to take ownership. You shouldn't be that person who just does what they've been told to do and you leave it there. You should learn to go the extra mile. Ask your colleague, have you done this? Have you done that? And say, even though this is not your job, you should be able to own it, to say, we need to make sure that this thing succeeds. So if you studied product management, some of the things that they're looking for is clarity, strategy, and user empathy. If you study design, you need to be able to show your storytelling skills through your visuals, okay? And if you studied engineering, you need to be able to show or demonstrate that you're able to ship reliable and clean commits or code. And if it is QA, you should be able to show your curiosity and your attention to detail. So keep in mind that hiring managers want to see your thought process and not just your certificates. All right? Now, there are many people that I could have used as example of real Nigerians who have gotten hired globally. We have at Product Dive lots of alumni. I couldn't even start listing all of them. I just picked one person. Even I am an example. And we have lots of them littered on LinkedIn. If you go to our LinkedIn page, you will see where we share stories of some of our alumni who are doing excellently well. And if you also attend some of our webinars, you will see this. So why am I just pointing this out is to show you that it is not just hopeful or wishful thinking. This is the reality. You can be in Zamfara, Owerri, Onitsha, Igbora in Oyo State, Ede in Osun State, and Lagos, Nigeria, and work for international companies. People are doing it. But more importantly, the example of those people is that, oh, by the way, before I say this, there's someone, his name is Dada. His company launched a product that's currently going viral in the US. They actually launched it last year, which is called Socre. The three founders are between age 21 to 22 or 23. And this is to show you that age is not also a limit. And they launched an app that helps, they call it Tinder for job search, where you are able to swipe right or swipe left, and AI helps you to land a job. But there is a pattern amongst all of these real Nigerian examples. is that first they learn. After learning, which is what some of you here have done, they build. There has to be something. How did Dada, for instance, why did I put Dada's name here? Is how he was able to get into YC, that is into, for those who do not understand, let me use layman's term, where he was able to get funding, and mentorship, is that he had built something. And then he was able to track down an investor who was just on his bicycle doing an exercise in his community. And so what he did was that he chased that person down on his bicycle. I said, please, I want to show you something. Now, he didn't stop that person to start telling that person, oh, I've been trained in this, or I have gone to learn this. Please hire me. No. What he stopped him to do was, hey, sir, I've built this, and I think it might interest you. I just want to show you. And the person said, okay. And that was it. So the pattern here is that that person had learned how to build something, but beyond that, has then built that thing and then shared it. By sharing, you know what that investor did? Came on Twitter and then posted about it, about that experience. And he did a selfie of the two of them. Today, those guys now are on top 10 of Product Hunt. Their product is on top 10 of Product Hunt as of today, or as of this week. This is to show you that from wherever you are, if you follow the same pattern, which is learn, which is what you've done, then you build something. It may be your portfolio, it may be anything. Then you share it to the world. And you get seen, because by sharing, you get seen. So when that guy got seen, because by that investor tweeting about him, a lot of other investors saw the tweet and were like, I like to meet this guy. And he kept saying, oh, you need to meet this guy. And that was it. And then you also get paid. So I want you all who have gone through the 3MTT program to use your project. So you might be wondering, oh, I've not gotten a job. So why do I build something? You have projects. Use your project as proof points. Because hiring managers love evidence of your initiative. Okay? And to show them that, oh, you thought about this yourself and then you built it. Now, let's move on. What are the biggest mistakes early career professionals make, which I don't want you to do? Is that a lot of them at the beginning chase titles instead of experience. Somebody who hasn't done so much would go on their LinkedIn and posts and puts one big title. The real truth is most talented people remain invisible because they never show what they are doing. So you should actually chase experience. What is experience? Excuse me. By continuously learning and building. You will make mistakes, but mistakes form your experience. Another mistake people make in their early career, such as some of us here who have just graduated out of 3MTT, or probably still in 3MTT program, is that you're waiting for the perfect readiness. You're waiting for the perfect opportunity. That's a mistake. There's never a perfect opportunity. That, oh, I want to learn this first, then I'll apply for a job, then nah. Or I don't have all the tools. I want to have this phone, or I want to have this, or I want to have that particular laptop, or I want to, no. That's a big mistake that you can make to yourself, or if you're waiting for the perfect readiness. Another one is not documenting or showcasing your work. Whatever you've built, document it. Keep a copy. Create portfolios. Okay? And now just document, showcase it to the world. No matter how small, even if it is just a few screens of Figma, show it to the world. Another mistake early professionals make is focusing only on local visibility, just within your own space. Only your friends know that you've now learned product management, or you've learned QA, or you've learned design. And they're the only ones you show. Now, that's a mistake. Another last point here is ignoring soft skills and teamwork. Soft skills such as knowing how to present, knowing how to do a few things that is not hard skill is very, very important for you to build. Sometimes you can land a job just because you know how to communicate or you know how to explain. Soft skills, just because you even know how to explain. There might be another candidate who is probably better than you in the hardcore skills, but because of your own soft skills, in fact, soft skills such as even being likable or your dress sense or your persona, the way you carry yourself, or the way you write, right? All of those soft skills and more are things that you should not ignore and improve upon. So, if you can avoid these mistakes, how then do you stand out? So how do you stand out? Number one, I wrote it here to say portfolio, storytelling, and brands or branding are the ways that you can, at least for you at this point, for you to stand out. So, regardless of what you've studied, everybody can create a portfolio. Even engineers have GitHub as their portfolio. Product managers have tools that you can use to create your portfolio. Notion, designers use Behance, and more. So, first thing, for you to stand out, build a personal portfolio. Very, very important. Build what? A personal portfolio. Number two, tell your story. Okay? How you can tell your story is to say, here is what I have learned, built, and improved. And we encourage this. In fact, this is part of one of the core things we teach in one of our programs called Pivots to Product Management at Product Dive. For instance, at Product Dive, students who post one case study or the other usually get noticed. And you know what's funny? You might actually get, let's say, 10 likes, and you think it's not being seen. Trust me, people are seeing it. That they didn't react to it does not mean you're not being seen. Use content all of the time. Share things that you're learning weekly on LinkedIn or other social media platforms. Yours could be TikTok. It could be X. It could be LinkedIn. The truth is, those things you do will leave digital footprints of you and your work on social media or on the internet space. And you may not know. Hiring managers actually Google you. So make sure that they find your story, not silence. Your personal brand, for you to develop it and say you have a personal brand, it means that you have to be consistent, you have to be clear, and you have to be credible, right? So consistency plus clarity plus credibility becomes your personal brand. And by being consistent, by posting or showing up or teaching or learning, one project can change your career trajectory. It did for me. And it has done for so many people that I know. So do not forget what I said earlier, that for product managers, yours is clarity, strategy, and all of that. For designers, storytelling through visuals, engineers. So show that portfolio. So if you don't have a portfolio today and you're on this session or you're in this session, please make sure that that's the first thing you go create once you did. And there are tools for you, like I mentioned. Use whatever you're comfortable with, as long as you can share it to the world. It's shareable. All right? So please go ahead and create. But for some specific areas, there are specific tools that you are supposed to use for showcasing this. Now, one other thing you should add, all right, to stand out is, in this session, is how to navigate that job market locally and globally. I think that is something that most people here are going to be very interested in. I remember that when I have sessions with people who want to either pivot, or they want to learn, or they want to come to ProDive to learn, the first thing, most of them, 80% of them will usually ask, Akin, are you sure if I take this course, I will get a job? If I learn this thing, I want to start earning in dollars. I want to start earning millions of naira. I want to start earning. Everybody wants to earn, right? So it is important, right, for you to know how to navigate that job market. All right? At least you are now in that space. So you should have, I split it into two strategies. You should have local strategy. You should have global strategy. The first one for local strategy is to join tech community. All right, there are many of them, but we recommend that you join ProductDive, especially if you're a product manager. Join communities that resonate or are in your field. Those are one of the best places for you to network, for you to teamwork with people, and for you to even see jobs. For instance, at ProductDive, we have job channels. We post jobs regularly there. And I will advise you that that's one local strategy you can use. It's your first place to meet new people and meet like minds like you. Because sometimes it can be easily tiring that you've just learned something, you've learned how to design, and then there's nothing for you to do. You're not alone. So when you're in that community, you will see other people just like you. And you'll be able to meet with them, you'll be able to attend virtual meetings, you'll be able to attend webinars, you'll be able to attend physical meetings. And then from there, you see that, oh, I'm not alone. You will learn from them what they are doing differently. You'll be able to apply that to what you are doing. So join network, Nigerian tech communities. Also apply for local internships. There is nothing that can get you up or give you more experience faster than volunteering for internships, right? And social impact projects. So you can reach out to senior people in your industry to say, please, are you working on anything? I would like to contribute, volunteer, free of charge, or even if they will give you something. Because you need those opportunities for you to be able to build your portfolio and experience. So apply for those local internships. Even if they don't have vacancy, send an email, right? Ask, okay? Ask. And you never know. And be creative with your writing, by the way. All right? For global strategy, you can use lots of platforms to get yourself internships or jobs, okay? I put some examples here on the slide, such as we work remotely, Remote OK, there are many of them. Deal, Turing, so many platforms that you can leverage. And have your portfolio out there, put your resume, make sure it's tidy, and link your portfolio to that resume. Also, attend webinars and online hackathons, just like this one that 3MTT has organized. They are some of the best places for you to get nuggets that would help you improve your career. Also, make sure that you're following global or even local hiring managers. If you're on LinkedIn, those are the people you should be following. I remember many years ago, I had like 5 years ago, there was there's this hiring manager in Spain, and she doesn't post her jobs on LinkedIn, her vacant jobs. She posts them quietly on Twitter, on X. I only know this because I was following her because somebody recommended, a former boss of mine recommended that I follow her. Just to show you that if you follow these global hiring managers, you would know firsthand when they're posting vacancies. So make sure that you are blending both markets, okay? Start small locally with those internships, gain experience, gain traction, and then you scale abroad. Many of our ProductDive fellows first worked in Lagos startups, then moved into remote roles in Europe and North America. We have a lot of them. We have their testimonies all over our social media. So all of this would help you gain experience, and it will compound your experience. So with this, you have equipped yourself now that you are done with training. Okay? Speaking about networking, a very good opportunity for all of us here on this call is the Dive. For those of you who do not know, the Dive conference is the foremost product and tech conference in Africa. If you were at the 2023 conference, most of those who were at the 2023 conference have bought their tickets already for 2025. And that is one of the best places for you to network. For instance, you probably want at the Dive, the last Dive conference, we had the director of product of YouTube. So for those of you who would have loved such a person to be your mentor, she was there in person. There were so many other speakers, founders that of products that you love and you use. And it helps you to sit in the same room with them, learn from them, network with them, even seek mentorship from them. Okay? So position yourself. The Dive is now happening. The next one is happening in December 2025, December 10th at Landmark Event Center. And you can leverage it. So you can leverage it by treating it as your career stage and not just a conference. And tell yourself, because there's even, funny enough, at this year's conference, there's even career fair. So for those of you, there are going to be companies there who are going to be interviewing live at that conference. So you need to go get your ticket, right? You will be in the same room, not just with the people you like or you seek for mentorship or you seek to learn from. You are even going to be meeting companies who are hiring, and quickly pitch yourself to them and say, hey, I'm your best candidate. And so you can treat it as your next career stage, okay? Not just as a conference. And as you're coming, make sure that you prepare your elevator speech, which means who you are, what you've built, and what you seek. It's simple. My name is this person. This is what I have built. This is what I have done. And I am seeking this opportunity. And make sure that if it is possible on your phone, bring your portfolio. Or you could even have the URL or the QR code and the person can scan and check it on their own. And you also have the opportunity to actually network at that event. So you're coming there to be intentional even about your network. You will be meeting other PMs, other founders, and even hiring managers, QA, designers, and engineers, because this year's conference is not just for product managers. This year's conference is for everybody in the product team. That is the front-end engineer, back-end engineer, QA, design, everybody, business analyst, whatever, everybody. And if you're there, you're meeting people like them. You never know. One of the head of engineering might be recruiting. They might be looking for an intern. And that's your perfect job. So another opportunity is for you to even volunteer. You can reach out to product and say, hey, I would like to volunteer or participate. All of these things will give you visibility. And we all know that with visibility, right, comes opportunity. People who show up prepared at conferences usually get callbacks and referrals. Just wanted to put that out there. So, and at the Dive Africa 2025, your talent will meet opportunity. So be ready to come there to show what you've learned at 3MTT and not just to tell. All right? Now, moving on and closing out. Another thing you need to do for you as part of your what next is network acts and building your visibility online. Even though I've talked about your portfolio and networking at the Dive conference, you actually need to hack it. Some people say, oh, I'm shy, I don't know how to talk, there are other ways around you networking. One of those ways, which also helps you to build your visibility, is commenting meaningfully on LinkedIn posts weekly, you'll be out there. Your footprints will be out there. Somebody's going to notice you. If you see a LinkedIn post that resonates and you can add one or two things, comment. It gives you visibility. Somebody's going to see you and say, insight. They may follow you. Check out your profile. Another thing you can do as a hack is celebrate others. So if your colleague or someone is posting a new job or a promotion or something, celebrate them. Visibility for you isn't only when you promote yourself. It's also when you celebrate others. Also, make sure that you're collaborating with your peers, your colleagues that you've learned together. 3, 4 of you can come together to build something or to work together on something. Also, join community challenges online. Those are opportunity and network hacks for you as well. And lastly, attend virtual meetups and make sure that you're sharing your takeaway. For instance, this one that you've attended today, at the end, you should be able to go out there and say, hey, I attended this, I learned this, and I'll be applying this. And you should do more of that as much as possible. On that note, I hope I've been able to share a few tips and guide on how to move to the next step after 3MCT. So I'll be happy to take any question and answer them. But before I open that up for you, I want you to leave with these 2 questions. Those are my questions to you. Number 1, what is your biggest roadblock right now? What is stopping you right now? Number 2, ask yourself, what's one thing that you will start doing differently after this session? So I'll be happy to take your questions, and anybody, we have giveaway for you as well. We have free tickets that we will be happy to share. So Somto, if there are questions, we'll be happy to answer and talk about our giveaway as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Aketunde, for those crucial insights. Of course, preparation is everything, and now the fellows know exactly where to focus their efforts. So if we have been listening attentively, we have covered what hiring managers look for, and we mentioned you must show the proof of what you can do. It's not all about the certificates or your words. It is what you can do. It goes beyond your words. Now, we also talked about having a problem-solving mindset and communicating with clarity and confidence, and so on and so on. He also mentioned some of the common mistakes that we make as beginners. And the first point was really striking, having big titles. That was really striking. And another one is how to stand out. So he shared a lot of insights, and I believe that we got what he said. So do well to watch this webinar again on YouTube to fully digest all the insights that he shared. Now is your turn. He has been the one talking. It's now your turn to talk to us. Now is your turn. It's time for the question and answer. Please, just like I said before, use the chat box if you have any question for us. I'm going to scan through the questions that we have here on YouTube. Okay. A fellow is asking Mr. Kitunde, let's say he said, I finished TMTT training, but I have no work experience. How do I make my projects count as experience on my CV? I don't know if the question is clear.
Yes, it is very, very clear. Very solid question. You can add your project as a section in your resume. I understand what you mean when you say you can't add it as an experience, because for you to add it as it's still an experience. But I understand that for you to add it as an experience, you might want to tie it to a company, right? It's not compulsory, but you can even add it. You can also add it even in an experience and say, this was your project at your 3MTT program. Or you can create a section in your resume called projects and add it there. You can even take it a step further. If it is something that is public, you can even put the URL of that project on your resume. So your project shows that you've at least built something, all right? And in your career summary or executive summary, you can also mention it there as well. Those are ways that you can add or use your project as part of your experience. I hope that helps. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, while talking, you made mention of creating content. So let me ask you, when you started as a beginner in tech, your tech career, what was the first approach in the aspect of creating content? Because some persons always give the excuse that I don't know how to write, I don't know how to articulate my words or sell myself out there. What do you think is the first approach that you took to overcome that?
To be honest, I still don't do so much in writing, even personally. I'm not a shy person when it comes to talking, but you see, when it comes to writing, I'm one of those people, right? So what did I do differently is that, which is why I made sure that I touched on writing for those I touched on the fact that networking are for those who are a little bit, what's the word now? For those who are a little bit quiet, on the quiet side, you know, that they are not outspoken and all of that, you can do a lot of writing. One of the best ways to do that, and thank God for technology today, is that if you don't even know how to write, come up with a draft and you can use AI to improve that writing on what you have done and how you want to showcase it. What is important at the end of the day is the proof of what you've done, not necessarily how. You can be the finest writer and there's no substance. That is, you are writing stories and there's no proof of what you've done at the end of the day. So the most important thing is the proof of work. So as long as you have that proof of work, writing today is even easier. In my case, I started, I remember then there was no social media the way that we have it today. So what I did was that I would make sure that I attended events. I would make sure that I'm speaking to people. I'll make sure that I'm showcasing. I got to make sure that a lot of people, and I was fortunate to meet the MD of a software company about 13 or 14 years ago. And that was when he said, hey, you know, so in my case, I usually just send URLs. This is what I've done. This is what I've done. And they check it out. I'll put it, you know, back then when we had BBM, BlackBerry Messenger, you know, on your status, those were ways that I was using to share some of the things I've done. But for today's world, for you to share it, if you fall into that bracket, you can even leverage AI to help you write. What I would just say that you focus on the most is the proof of substance of what you've done, and writing can be easily taken care of by you using it. So you just make sure that you put it on lots of digital footprints so that when they Google you, that stuff you wrote about is the first thing that would show. I hope that helps.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so for a TMTT fellow with strong project work, but no. Okay, let me get this right. All right, for a TMTT fellow with strong project work, but no formal, like no full-time experience, but the person has at least have done something. So how do you advise the persons to structure their resume to make their projects count? Hello?
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I was muted. I didn't know I was muted. Apologies. Yeah, so I said your resume will be like that of a fresh graduate, okay, who just finished university and hasn't gained any experience yet. Anybody who is hiring will understand that you are an entry level and your role is an entry level role. So what would make the difference between your resume and an experienced person is that your project will be the first thing, not your education. Your skills and projects, things that you've worked on. So after your name and your bio data, and please, for resumes, please don't put your full address. Nobody is interested in your full address or your gender. Those things are archaic. Those are things that you should not be putting in your resumes anymore. So for a well and structured and professional resume, what you should have is this: your name. Under your name, you should have your title. When we say title, means that are you a designer, or are you a product manager, or are you a quality assurance engineer? Whatever that is, you have that, right? And then you have your LinkedIn URL. When you have your LinkedIn URL, you have your email, and then you have your phone number, and then portfolio link if you have one. You put my portfolio, and then you put the link, okay? Those are the most important things you need to have first. And then you move on to what you call either career summary. It has many names, of executive summary or about you. And that is where you quickly and very succinctly describe who you are, what you know, what you've done. Okay? All right? So you make sure it shouldn't be more than, I think, 5 lines. You shouldn't have to, it should be 1 paragraph. You shouldn't be having multiple paragraphs in that section. And then the next part of your resume for you who hasn't gotten experience should now be your skills and projects. One could come before the other. There's no rule to that. So your skills could be Java, C#, .NET, whatever. You have your skills, you roll it out. And then the next one should be your project. You're now saying, these are my skills, but these are the things that I have done. So you start listing those projects. You are the designer that designed this project or this or that. After that, you can then go into your educational background, whatever you have, and then your resume is fine. Anybody who is hiring you, who sees that CV will know, oh, okay, this is this person. And so you don't need to worry too much about experience. Also, by volunteering, you can then use those volunteer or internships as your experience before your education. So that's why I also mentioned that you should volunteer and seek internships. And it could be free, like you don't have to be paid, but you are seeking them for experience. And you put those ones there to say, I worked at this company as a designer intern, or as a PM intern, or as a QA intern, and then you list them, and then that's how you go about your resume. I hope that helps as well.
Yes, that does help. So beyond technical competence, and you made mention of soft skills. So what is that beyond the technical competence? What is the single, like the most important soft skills that hiring managers are actually looking out for?
That's a very tricky question because it varies by organization. And that's why I mean it's very tricky. Some roles require communication as a very important soft skills. Some roles, that may not be the most important. But there's nobody that will hire anybody that does, that is. But what I would say that is the most important will be your character, your attitude to work, right? You may not be very good, but you can be hired just because you have a solid character and right attitude to work. You are seeking to learn. You are always seeking. And guess what? Seeking to learn is actually a soft skill, right? Seeking to learn is actually a very important soft skill. So people can hire you knowing that, okay, we'll just train this person within 3 months. This person will know what we do here and they'll be better. So I would say the most general soft skill is having the right attitude to work, having a solid character. You are reliable. You are credible. You say the truth, you say what you can do, you say what you mean, you meet up with, and then knowing how to communicate and all other things can follow. But having a very solid character in terms of credibility and communication, those are some of just having a solid character is something that anyone needs to hire you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take just one more question. You talked about standing out.
Yeah.
Okay. So with thousands of talented fellows entering the tech talent marketplace. We have a lot of them. So how can an individual like a fellow ensure that their profile gets noticed among all the competitions out there?
Wow. One way I would say is consistency in, I mentioned the consistency, clarity, and showing up every day. For you to stand out, you must make sure that you also do things differently. You can't, and even in doing things differently, you must still be consistent, but you must try to be very creative. I remember something I saw on social media a few weeks ago. Somebody got a job. And how did he get that job was that what he did was that they had put up, the job had closed. The job opportunity had closed. They weren't taking any more CVs. And the guy researched and found out who the hiring manager is and also the head of the department that was hiring for that role on LinkedIn. And then the person sent an email directly to those people. And then he wrote, he had done an analysis of their product and he showed them that in that analysis, he then came up with a prototype of what he would have done differently. So he did a small prototype. So in his email to them, he said, and he wrote in that email, he said, I know this job has closed, but I'm just throwing my dart out there. I hope you see it and you respond. This is me. He briefly spoke about himself. This is me. This is what I know. These are the skill sets that I have that aligns perfectly with that job that with the skills that you said you required. Not just that, I am now showing you how I'm going to do some of it. So this is an example, a prototype of what I have worked on. And guess what? The person replied, the head of that department replied and said, are you available next week for a call? And that way the guy got the job. So that is one example of many creative ways for you to stand out. But you can't just stand out by doing that one time and maybe you didn't get anything back and you stop. That's why I mentioned that you also have to be consistent. Like they always say, a job search is also a full-time job. So you have to be up every day. And there's something I always usually tell my mentees is that you and rejection mail should be friends, right? That you've received a rejection mail because you applied for a job does not mean that you give up. You should be best friends with rejection. Once you see rejection mail, you do chop knuckle to the rejection mail and just say, on to the next. You just tell yourself, on to the next one, on to the next one. You don't get weighed down by rejection mail. So you keep showing up until one day someone, and I'll close it up by sharing this example. One of the things you can do differently is even in your interviews, is being very relatable, also be very human. A good example I will share is one where I was in, and I had gone through the interview. They had asked me all different questions, and I think the person asked what football club that you very surprising. The senior person there said, "What football club do I support?" And because I knew the country that I was interviewing in and the city, I mentioned the football club of that city. And I said, "Oh, that's my football club." And he said, "Oh, nice. We're going to be watching some matches together." Those are also additional soft skills and creative ways for you to stand out differently from others. All right. So I hope this helps. Thank you, Somto. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for your engagement, and a huge thank you to our speaker for those direct, candid, and helpful answers. Thank you. So, guys, don't forget to share what you have learned today on your social media handles. It's also part of it. That's part of sharing what you have learned. That's part of the visibility that he talked about. And it's giveaway time.
Yes, Somto. So let's just quickly close out by me just quickly talking about the Dive conference and this giveaway. So Product Dive is happy to give away free tickets to those who ask questions. Santo, so please My colleague is going to reach out to you. So for everyone who has asked the question, we will get their name. So please, they should probably share their email with you so that they'll be able to get those free tickets. So if you are those people who ask those questions, please, I'm sure that communication will happen between Omobolaji and Somto on how you're going to get their details. So we're happy to give it. But for others, please, it's important that you understand how the DIVE conference is going to help you. It is not just a conference for you to come and sit down and say, I attend and take. Of course, you take cool pictures, you will meet your celebrities, you meet leaders in the industry, you meet them. Yes, that is there. But much more importantly, you're coming there strategically to position yourself using those things I had mentioned. It's happening in Lagos. For those who are outside Lagos who might want to attend, you can also attend virtually. All of that information is on the website. Okay, you can also buy virtual tickets and you can attend. But those who, if you're in Lagos, I would advise that you bring yourself there. So join other people like you who are program managers, designers, engineers, QA, business analysts, and co at Landmark Event Center, December 10th. There's going to be career fair. You know, I keep mentioning it for those who are seeking job opportunities, but I've told you, come prepared. Come with your portfolios. And there are going to be workshops, industry workshops. So if you have been looking into going into fintech, health tech, ed tech, there are going to be specific workshops for you to be able to attend. So you can register in person or get your virtual ticket. And you can send emails for partnership or sponsorship, or reach out to Somto for your free ticket as well. That is that on the conference and the giveaway. Thank you, Somto. Back to you.
Okay. All right, guys. So as we wrap up today's session, I hope you're energized, and more importantly, you have been equipped efficiently. So the transition from 3MTT training to a global tech career is a journey. And today was about giving you that roadmap and the tools for that next big leap. So I want to offer final massive thank you to our incredible speaker, Mr. Akitunde, for sharing his invaluable expertise. All right, so thank you again to all 3MTT fellows who joined us today. So stay connected to us at 3MTT Nigeria on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and X, and also our products Dive. They are on LinkedIn, on X, on Facebook, everywhere. So don't miss out on any of our insightful webinars and other information. Still have a wonderful day.